Excuse me. Is it true there's been trouble with crystals of late?
You've heard, then?
I've heard rumors.
Damn thieves. Pilfering the crystals that were meant to fill our cups and light our stoves. Us common folk have hardly had a shard to share between us these last few moons. And it isn't as if we can buy them on the black market either. Whoever's taking them, they aren't sharing.
Do you have a moment?
Depends what for.
Just a question. Dalamil seems to be thriving compared to the other villages I came through on the way. Is there a reason for that?
Well, we're a stone's throw from Drake's Fang for one. The soldiers guarding the Mother Crystal and the shipments need a place to spend their hard-earned gil. The men of the Rock throw their money about like there's no tomorrow.
Is that so? Well, thank you. Don't let me keep you from your work any longer.
What can I do for you, soldier? Need that sword polishing?
I'm not a soldier.
Ugh, then be off with you. I serve the men of the Rock and the men of the Rock only.
You have an agreement with them?
Don't be stupid. I just know which side my bread is buttered. Don't want to be stuck under some pauper when they come knocking. With pockets deeper than Zemeckis and an urge to empty them. No, just leave, will you? Before you scare them off.
It's you, the one who broke all our furniture. What do you want? Haven't you caused enough trouble already?
I'm looking for my pal. Have you seen him?
The gentleman who was with you? Yes, he's upstairs, but...
Thank you. I'll go and fetch him. Huh?
Will this suffice as a deposit?
By the sands. That's a black pearl.
One of the many treasures in my collection that I would be only too happy to part with, should you give me reason to do so.
All right. I'm sure that we can come to an agreement, but not here.
What are you doing, Uncle? Care to explain why you're giving gifts to Kupka's men?
Bait, my boy. One cannot catch one's prey without it. And I do believe I've snagged us quite the quarry. I started by asking around the markets as to where I might purchase crystals. I had no luck, of course. It's forbidden to trade in such things. But my uncharacteristic indiscretion just happened to attract the attention of those uniformed ruffians. They took me aside and said they could procure the crystal I sought if I proved I could pay for it.
So the pearl was your proof?
I thought they'd asked for more. A second-rate specimen like that would only fetch 500,000 or so. A small price to pay for admittance to the underworld. But enough about my little act of subterfuge. What did you discover?
That the supply of crystals has dried up of late. And some people seem to think they're being stolen. Meanwhile, members of Kupka's private guard have been spending money all over town. I'll wager those soldiers you've been talking to have been siphoning off crystals meant for elsewhere, and pocketing the profits.
I'll wager you're right.
We'll meet with them then, just as you arranged, and put an end to the trouble Lubor spoke of.
Ha! That preening popinjay thought this would be difficult. It just goes to show, one should never underestimate a Rosfield. We'll soon wipe that smirk off his face.
I was beginning to think you weren't coming, my lord. You've brought your contribution?
All the silver and stones I could scrape together at such short notice?
You brought the whole 500 talents.
That was the price we agreed upon, yes? If you've no objections, I'd like to see the crystal.
Of course. Right this way, my lord.
Not bad at all. You weren't lying about the clarity. But what of security? If I were to be stopped on the road, what guarantee have I that it wouldn't be seized as property of the Republic?
Because these crystals are no longer the property of the Republic. You're not buying from us. You're buying from them.
And we have no more jurisdiction here than you, my lord. But we have ships, and will gladly deliver to a port of your choosing, now that our price has been met.
Royalists, eh? What brings you here?
Why, to collect their share of Drake's Fang's blessing, of course. Our nations are allies, and so they are entitled to a portion of the Mother Crystal's bounty. And being such good friends, we elected to increase that portion and share the benefits. And now that these crystals are officially property of the Kingdom of Waloed, we are duty-bound not to interfere, no matter where they might happen to end up next.
Did you get all that? They're in cahoots!
So it would seem.
My lord, what is the meaning of this?
Double-crossing dogs. They're not here to do business. Kill them. Kill them both!
Well, that wasn't too bad. How'd you like my performance, huh? I've often played the villain on the stage. I think I did the role justice. Don't you?
Greybeard, you were magnificent. The battle scene was particularly thrilling. Such a shame you didn't have more of an audience, but perhaps that's for the best.
How long have you been watching?
Long enough to witness your uncle's sordid transaction. I hardly expected one so venerable to degrade himself so thoroughly. Buying one's way into the confidence of degenerates. Ingenious.
This was the trouble you spoke of. The men of the Rock taking crystals meant for the common folk and conspiring with the Royalists. Well, now it's over.
Indeed it is. The people of Dalamil had scarcely any means of redress against Kupka's men, let alone a foreign army. Until you two came along, that is. Well, we'd better get these crystals back to town. You won't mind waiting with them while I fetch a wagon. It occurs to me that I still don't know your name.
Clive.
So, Sid the Second is a Clive. I suppose it could have been worse. Well, Clive, you held up your end of the bargain, so I must do the same. Passage through the South Gate, was it not? To tell the truth, you've helped a little there too. Many of the guards have already been redeployed to deal with the issue of their missing comrades. And those left behind have been encouraged to look the other way should you attempt to pass through.
Thank you. And please allow me to cover your costs. You still have the purse I gave to the soldiers, I trust? I saw you pluck it from one of the bodies.
Oh, dear. Was I really so obvious?
And my name is not Greybeard. It is Lord Byron Rosfield, thank you very much.
No, thank you very much, Greybeard.
Of all the... Ugh!
Here, wear this. Any friend of mine who sees you with it shall be a friend of yours.
Thank you, Lubor.
And please, feel free to send one of my Stoluses back to your people. Tell them that Rosina Dalamil is back in bed with Sid.
Omia Lostelan. Tu Isakelis.
I'm trusting you, Sid. Or should I say, Clive? So be sure not to let me down. I have a reputation to uphold. Well then, I wish you a safe journey south.
Thank you.
Not at all. It was my pleasure.
Come on, Uncle. Let's go.
Ah, I'm not too late.
What is it, Lubo?
A question that I neglected to ask earlier. Where is it that you're bound?
To Drake's Fang. To finish Hugo Kupka.
Just as I thought. Then allow me to share a secret. Drake's Fang is currently riddled with royalists. Talmeki and Walud are allies, and as you've seen, their soldiers work hand in glove. But no nation has ever before allowed a foreign army to make a barracks of its holiest of holies.
Not by choice, at least.
And there's more. A man on the inside of the Fang has failed to report for several days. I fear there may be more trouble lying in wait for you on the road ahead.
Isn't there always?
If you're determined to beard the lion's den, then promise me one thing. That you will enter via the mines, where the guard is lightest. I've lost one Sid already. If I lose another, people will start to think me careless.
I don't plan on dying. Not before Kupka does, anyway.
Well, so long as you have a plan.
There it is. Drake's Fang.
Kupka will be hiding inside.
Along with goodness knows how many guards, all on highest alert. You'll need to keep your wits about you if you're to reach him. So be careful.
I will, Uncle.
Before you go, Clive, allow me to apologize. After what befell at Phoenix Gate and the crisis that followed in its wake, I fled. I retreated to my counting house and danced attendance upon the vicereine in the hope it would bring me favor. I betrayed my nation to save my skin, like the coward I am. And I'm sorry.
Uncle, please.
It's not too late, Clive. Rosaria is yours by right, and there are those that would help you to take it back. Had I the courage of my brother, I might already have done so. But that ship has sailed. You, however...
No. Forgive me, but I cannot. I fight to build a new world now. A better world. Where men can live and die on their own terms. I was raised in a nation that strove to improve the plight of bearers. Only later did I realize that spark of freedom did not arise by chance, but was kindled by my father. You would see me follow in his footsteps. And that is exactly what I mean to do. Not by ruling Rosaria, but by extending his ideals to the whole of the twins. Though every soul in the realm may judge my actions heresy, I am certain my cause is just.
You really are just like him, you know? Thank you, Clive, for coming back to me. I am proud to call you nephew. Well then, this is where we must part ways. Wish me luck in convincing my Canvarian friend to share his considerable talents. I mean to plunder his coffers and prove myself worthy of a place in your merry band. Till then, my boy.
Till then, go safely, Uncle.
And you, nephew. We have much to catch up on, you and I. I shall expect you to regale me with the tales of all your adventures when next we meet. You can regale me too, Torgal.
I'm coming for you, Kupka.
Why do they start? What has that gutter rat done to me? Out of my sight, witch! I'll kill you, Rosfield! I'll rip out your heart! I'll tear you limb from limb!
Peace, Hugo. The table shan't hurt you any longer.
He sought to humiliate me. Me! If you hadn't interfered, he would be dead!
You truly believe you would have triumphed had the battle continued?
Titan would have ground him into dust!
And how would he have done that without his head?
Shut up!
You weren't strong enough, and you call yourself a dominant. Or rather, you did.
You mock me, Harbert.
Do you see, Hugo? You are weak.
Fuck!
But so long as that fire burns within you, there is still hope. There may yet be a way for you to take your revenge.
Tell me, what must I do? Please, I'll do anything. Just tell me.
The heart.
What of it?
A mother crystal's heart is the most concentrated source of ether in all creation. Perhaps you could take advantage of that. Of course, the crystal would not yield her blessing to any ordinary man. But then, you are no ordinary man, are you, Hugo? Clive Rosfield stole your power, but others have suffered a similar fate, and still managed to find the strength to conjure their Eikon. Like Benedicta Harmon. She She too drank of the ether and gained a power beyond human understanding.
She did. Benedicto. Benedict. I'll do it. My love. I'll avenge you.
Run along now, Hugo. You need only follow the light. Muthos is here. Very well, it shall be so. You may leave everything to me, Your Majesty.
Royalists bring them from Ash? By the flames. Come on, Torgal. Seems we're expected.
So this is the power of Muthos.
You've been busy, Kupka. But where did you go? The heart.
Benedicta. My everything. I've missed you so much. Coca! I swear to you, my love, we will never be parted again.
What's wrong with him?
Get away from her! Benedicta! do you want?
Your soul is tainted with worthless human will, yet your thirst for power remains undiminished. With every sip you take, you grow in strength, and soon you shall achieve perfection.
I don't know what you're talking about.
You will accept us, Mythos. It is inevitable. You were created for this purpose, and you shall serve it.
Never!
Fight it, Clive! Don't let him in!
Consciousness. We see now. Human will is so insubstantial it cannot exist in isolation. You mitigate its weakness by interweaving it with your consciousness. We believed we had merely to purge you of your will to claim our vessel. It appears we first have to sever every thread of the consciousness that supports it. No matter. The time to build a new world is not yet upon us. We will contemplate.
Command the power of ether by drowning in its flood. Then one can constrain the tides by standing in the sea. I had thought Hugo wiser than this, but it seems his head was full of rocks after all.
Titan was strong.
Your Majesty.
But Mythos is stronger. For 5 years, that man lived only for revenge. Clinging fast to a fiction, even as it swept him into the abyss. One cannot change one's nature through force of will alone. Only the Almighty can do that.
Hugo Kupka, the man who gave his life for a woman's head. A fool like all the rest.
That the death of a mother crystal should be so beautiful.
Some medicine, my lord? I have salves, potions, anything you need.
Stop bothering me, urchin, or you'll feel the back of my hand.
You must consider your health, my prince. If a show of force is needed to keep the Dalmex at bay, you may trust in your dragoons. I beg you to call on Bahamut only as a last resort. His strength comes at too great a cost.
The Empire agreed to an armistice with the Republic, and yet the Emperor still plots its ruin. For now, the Dalmex suspect nothing, and as long as I can hold their gaze, war need not be inevitable. But more than that, Bahamut is the champion of the Empire. When our people look to the heavens, the sight of him gives them hope. Forgive me, Terence. Would that you were my master. But alas.
I will always be your loyal servant.
Should the Council's brazen maneuvering prompt the Republic to tear up their own treaty and launch a new assault, our soldiers would advance to meet them, cutting across the Central Isles, but not in time to prevent their forces from breaching the southern defenses and storming Twinside. And so the capital would become a battlefield. Thousands of innocents would die. I cannot allow that to happen.
There is one small mercy, at least. You will not be forced to do battle with Titan.
Would that I could avoid doing battle at all.
1,000 pardons, Your Highness.
What is it?
Olivier has been made Emperor. What is the meaning of this? My father's orders. What were they? Quickly!
Yes, Your Highness. His Radiance requests that Your Highness maintain position here and...
Ah! Terence.
Yes, my prince.
I must go to the palace.
I'll ready your steed.
What is it now?
Forgive the intrusion, Your Highness.
I know you.
At ease.
We stand in the presence of the Phoenix. You wouldn't want to get your fingers burned.
I hope I'm not interrupting.
Not at all. Though I admit, I did not expect such a distinguished guest.
How many years has it been since the Remembrance ceremony? 20?
I thought you long dead. Do I address a ghost?
Many have told me that I look like one. But no. I'm alive. Just. Prince Dion of the House Lesage, I have a tale to tell you.
Clive, you're back.
I am. And with glad tidings for once. Hugo Kupka is no more.
Well, I'll be. All of our comrades who lost their lives back at Sid's place be smiling down at you right now.
We had a stolus from Lubor saying Drake's Fang had fallen. I expect that was your doing as well, was it?
It's a long story.
One for the history books, I'll bet.
Welcome home, Clive.
It's good to be back. You look better.
I feel it. Which means I'm coming on your next little adventure. You're not leaving me behind again.
Wouldn't dream of it. Otto, any word on the Royalist movements since I've been away?
Shouldn't you be putting your feet up? If you really want to know, go and have a word with Vivian.
Thank you. I will.
Ah, the conquering hero returns. And with hardly a scratch on him.
I may have picked up one or two.
Well, the fact that you came straight to me instead of visiting our resident physiker suggests that you picked up something more important. A scent. The scent of Waludas.
The very same. But whatever plans Kupka was hatching with the Royalists, he took them to his grave. As did his men. Slaughtered by the orcs who'd taken over the Fang. Orcs, Vivian. I've never seen such creatures in Storm before. The Waludas must have ferried them over from Ash, but why? Why work to rescue Kupka only to invade his home, the mother crystal of an allied nation, and let both fall? It makes no sense.
Do you know the tale of the blind men and the Adamantus? One can often be led astray by focusing too closely on individual details. One must instead see the bigger picture. And what bigger picture is there than my map? The Kingdom of Waloed claims dominion over all of Ash. It is a nation forged by the bloody conquest of Barnabas Tharm, the dominant of Odin. The Canvarian War of Independence in 849. The Battle of the Twin Realms in 865. The Battle of Belinus Tor in 873. Wheresoever his armies fought, Odin was found where the fighting was fiercest. But of late, the warrior king appears to have laid his sword to rest. Battle rages for control of the crystalline dominion. Yet Tharm sends not a single ship in support of his Dhalmekian allies. Meanwhile, the Blight ravages great swathes of Ash. Yet warlike Waloed shows not the faintest interest in laying claim to untouched lands. So why go to the trouble of sending an army of orcs into the heart of Drake's Fang, only to make no attempt to claim the Mother Crystal for Waloed? It can hardly be for lack of men. Tharm's armies rival any in the Twins. No. We have not seen the last of the Waluda standard. Odin will ride again. It is but a question of when. And on that day, who will be trampled underfoot? In summary, I know not to what end the Royalists betrayed Kupka. I know only that it is part of some broader scheme. A scheme tied to the ambitions of one man.
King Barnabas.
But there is no need to wallow in confusion. If one is to cure a sickness, one must first identify the symptoms. And your Lord Uncle has volunteered to do just that by keeping an eye on the Royalists' movements.
He's really throwing himself into this.
Indeed he is. Which means all that remains for us to do is await his reports. Well, not quite all in your case. The people of the Hideaway must hear the news. Justice has been done. Hugo Kupka is dead. The wounds he left that night are still raw. Especially for those who lived with Sid the longest. Tell them that those wounds might finally begin to heal.
Consider it the price of today's instruction.
I've never known you to be sentimental.
What can I say? I am only human. And we are, all of us, sentimental animals at heart.
I suppose we are. Very well. I'll go and spread the word.
Ah, Clive. Have you come seeking the gift of knowledge?
No. To share mine, actually. Hugo Kupka is dead.
Oh my. Can it really be true?
Look, he's crying. He is. The big baby.
And with good reason, children. These are tears of joy. We must offer up a prayer to your parents that the heavens might weep with us. There shall be no lessons today, only thanksgiving and merrymaking. Go, put away your things.
All right. Brilliant.
Thank you, Clive. I cannot wait to share the good news.
Hippocrates. After Kupka fell, Ultima came to me. I need to know what he is. Have you learned anything?
Alas, no. And not for want of trying. I have scoured nigh every historical tome in our collection and found nothing. Not even the sort of conspicuous absence that might suggest a concealment of fact. One is almost tempted to conclude that such a creature never existed.
But I saw him. With my own eyes.
I don't doubt that you did. Alas, it seems you are the only one who has. To others, he reveals naught. We see only that which he leaves in his wake, like some terrible force of nature beyond the ken of mortal man.
A bringer of death.
Whether the Ultima you met with was the being itself, or merely another projection of its power, I know not. But until I do, my investigations shall continue.
Thank you. It means a lot.
So, the Professor's got a soft side, has she? I'd never have guessed.
No. She was right, though. Everyone was glad to hear the news.
Ah, but you ain't told everyone. I can think of plenty of friends back at the old hideaway who'd sleep more peacefully for knowing. Not least of all Sid. You should tell him.
You're right. I should. And I will.
Well, when you do, be sure to take Mid with you. She's been going at it hammer and tongs down in that workshop of hers, trying to do her father proud. I can't remember the last time she visited the old sod's grave.
Very well. I'll suggest it.
All right, Clive? What do you want?
I'm going to visit Sid, and I thought you might like to come with me.
Sorry, I'm too busy for all that right now. I've got to get this thermal displacement stack sorted.
Thermal...
Displacement stack. Here.
And this is for...
Only the fastest, finest ship the world has ever seen. The Enterprise. Me and my dad designed it together. Where other vessels rely on the fickle winds to drive them through the water, ours is fitted with mithril engines. And those things have got more push than a behemoth in a bad mood, and more heat than all the hells put together. Which is where the stack comes in. I may have already talked some tight-lipped shipwrights into putting the hull together for me in a little dockyard in Canva. But the stack's a bit more involved, so I'm building it here. Thing is, it's so involved that I'm running behind and it's starting to hold things up over at the shipyard. I'll come and see my dad, though, when I'm done. Whenever that is.
Is there anything I can do to help?
Good old Clive. I were hoping you'd say that. First things first, I need some parts meching. The sack will be made up of 3 major components. There's the plating, here, that channels hot vapors away from the engine. The helm over the top, that disperses all that heat into the air. And the shielding around the sides. That stops the rest of the ship from going up in flames.
A full suit of armor, then. Probably best to take it one piece at a time.
Then you'll need to start with the plating. Everything else fits onto it. I've got the designs and the list of materials here. Show these to Blackthorn. He'll know what to do.
I can't make head nor tail of them. Can I ask a favor?
Out with it.
It's for Mid.
This my last chance to say I'm otherwise engaged. Spare myself the arseache. Go on then. What is it this time?
She said you would know.
Krieger's teats. Well, I don't know what the hell you'd want this for, but I can make it. Won't be easy though. And I'll need help. Get Gav and Otto in here, will you?
All right.
So Mid's roped us all in here again, has she? Typical. Still, if that's what it takes to get her to visit Sid's grave, I'll do what I can.
And, what is it we need to do, exactly?
Take a look at this. It's this plating. The usual saw-grade steel won't work. We need something that can get very hot, very fast, and still keep its shape. That means an alloy. Something that won't break or buckle at the temperatures she's talking about. Which is where you lot come in. I need materials, and I've got my work cut out already. You'll have to fetch them. Now, there's a special kind of sand I'm after that you can only find out in the Valcroy. Stardust, they call it. As for the rest of the stuff, my usual supply should have it in stock. It just needs buying and bringing back here.
Well, we'll get it done quicker if we split up. One of us should probably give you an hand coat in the sand.
And the other can go and get the rest from this supplier.
Right then.
Well, make your minds up who's going where, we can get this over with. You going after the Stardust then, are you? Which one of these 2 lucky souls is going with you?
Gav, you're with me.
All right then. So, where do we find this Stardust stuff?
There's a river that runs through the southern reaches of the Valcroy. It's the black sand that washes up on its banks that you're after.
Southern reaches of the Valcroy, eh? That's down past Dalamil. I'll go and scout the place out. See about hiring us a wagon to bring the stuff back to.
All right. I'll meet you by the river.
While you're off having a paddle, I'll pick up the rest of the stuff from Blackthorn's supplier. Take care.
You two, eh? Don't go letting them fleece ya.
Fleece me? I'd like to see him try.
In your own time.
Sorry to keep you, Gav.
Better late than never. I've had a quick scout about, and I reckon round here's our best bet if we want to grab as much of this Stardust stuff as we can. Don't know what Blackthorn's planning to do with it, though. I asked over in Dalamil, and they seem to think it was worthless. But if Stardust is what Blackthorn wants, Stardust is what he'll get. There's plenty of the stuff lying about just begging to be bagged.
Then let's get bagging, shall we?
We shall. Race ya. You finished? How much did you get?
Enough. I hope.
Oh, you win. That might even be enough for old Blackthorn. Hey, before we go, do you mind if we have a chat? Feels like ages since we had the chance to talk. You know, man to man like.
It does, doesn't it?
Back when you first took Sid's name, we were talking all the time. Working out what to do in that.
There was a lot to work out.
And there still is. Those shoulders of yours starting to feel the strain. Hardly ever see you around the hideaway nowadays. Always on some errand or other. You can take a day off, you know.
Says the man who spends most of his time behind enemy lines.
Only 'cause you keep sending me there.
I know I can count on you, Gav.
Likewise. So you keep sending me wherever you need to, and I'll keep going. Safe in the knowledge that I have a home to come back to. Thanks to you. Right. That's enough soppy shite for one day. We'd better get this lot back to Blackthorn before he slings his hammer at someone.
You go on ahead. And try to get some rest once you're there.
Oh, I plan to. Believe you me. After Blackthorn gets what he needs, of course.
Right. Ready to go home, boy? Blackthorn. Got everything you need?
Yeah. Yeah, I do. Cheers for the stardust. Should be enough to be getting on with.
We should go out on maneuvers together more often. You know, it beats sneaking around on your Todd all the time.
I'll make a start on putting this thermal plating together then. It'll take some time, mind. So if you've got other things to be getting on with, I could do without you breathing down my neck.
Thank you, Blackthorn. I'll let Mid know construction's underway. You'll be pleased to hear that Blackthorn's started work on the plating.
Excellent. 1 down, 2 to go.
So, what's next?
The helm, of course. For this, we'll be repurposing fallen scrap.
Salvage from the ruins? I thought that material was all but impossible to work.
Ah, but we don't have to.
I'm sorry.
Just so happens there's one particular ruin that's broken into exactly the right shape and size pieces for what we need. What's the name back there? I'll give you all the details.
What's her name? Right.
Oh, Sid, is this about the helm?
Yes. Mid said I should speak with you.
I'll show you the plans then. Here you see the mithril engine, in which mithril is burned to generate heat. That heat is then harnessed to produce motive force. Excess heat is dealt with by means of the thermal displacement stack, which disperses it into the surrounding air. Now, were we to rely on thermal plating alone to achieve this effect, the rate of excess heat buildup would far exceed the displacement coefficient of the plating. In other words, the reactor would overheat and eventually explode. This is where the helm comes in. It connects to the plating, you see, and serves as a sort of thermal sink to absorb all that excess energy. Our experiments have shown that fallen ceramics are remarkably thermophilic. They can withstand and absorb levels of heat far above anything we are able to make today. And not only that, they're also waterproof and immune to rust, making them the perfect material for our protective hood. Why, if sea or rainwater were to enter the reactor proper, it would vaporize instantly. The forces produced would tear the ship from stern to...
You can stop there. I understand. Mid said we might be able to use parts of a fallen ruin. Where would I find it?
Ah, yes. It's in Lorbert's Pass, near Lostwing. The thing is, well, I probably should have arranged to have the pieces we need brought here sooner. You see, a certain unwanted visitor has taken up residence there. It's no longer a matter of just walking in and taking them. It's, going to be considerably more dangerous than that.
I see. Then I suppose I'd better deal with this unwanted visitor for you. Would that help?
Oh, very much. Thank you, Sid. I'll gather my team and head there right away. We'll meet you outside the ruins.
Mid. Helena has recovered the material for the helm. She'll be along shortly.
Excellent. Another job well done.
And just one remaining.
Right. Right, the shielding. This one's a bit of a bugger.
How so?
The plating's enough to stop the engines going pop, but those things will still be spitting out enough fire to set the rest of the ship ablaze. Which is why you need proper shielding. A prison for the dragon's breath that's blazing away inside. I thought a triple thick layer of tempered steel might do it. Or more of the stuff that the Fallen use, but they'd both be too heavy. The helm and the plating are bulky enough as it is. Add any more weight and the whole ship would be at the bottom of the briny before we'd even started. I need something light. But I've racked my brains and I just can't think what would do it.
Well, if I were in need of obscure knowledge, I know whose counsel I would seek. Harpocrates.
Tomes? Yeah, well, I'd thought of that, obviously. I've got all the details written down here. Can you take this to him, see what he makes of it?
Right away. Harpocrates, do you have the moment?
For you, Clive, always.
Well, actually, it's for Mid this time. Could you take a look at this?
Shielding for a mithril engine. Whatever will that girl think of next? And what are these notes around the edges?
She has some specific requirements for the materials. The shielding needs to be able to resist extreme heat on the inside, and yet remain cool enough on the outside not to set the ship alight, while also being light enough not to sink it. As you can imagine, she's struggling to find anything that meets her needs.
I see.
I wondered if you might know of a solution, or if you might be able to search the records for one.
Perhaps it is not a different material she requires, but a different approach.
What do you mean?
Consider the lake we have made our home. Its blighted waters eat away far more quickly than fresh water or even brine, at timber and steel alike. And yet, we have made a home here from those very materials nonetheless.
We have. But Bardolph must varnish every board twice over to keep it from rotting. And Obelisk complains that without a constant supply of pitch. I see.
Early Gregorian histories speak of a preparation known as moon dew. It is said to be able to resist even the most ferocious flames. Before the dragoons tamed the worms and wyverns of the realm, nobles would daub their castle walls with it in order to guard against dragon fire.
So if we could recreate it...
It might be applied to some material or other in order to provide the protection Mid requires. As to how best to apply it and to what material, perhaps Bardolph and Obelisk might be of assistance. I shall speak to them and see what wisdom they might have to offer. If you would be so kind as to procure the necessary ingredients, I shall discuss the specifics of how it might be most effectively put to use with our two friends. The knowledge of the past may yet prove useful to we of the modern era.
Thank you, Harpocrates. And since you're asking others to help you, perhaps I should too.
So you need a hand, do you?
We do. I'll be heading to market for the ingredients we need. I could do with some help. And some company, too.
The other can assist me in researching how best to prepare the shielding itself.
Can we count on your aid?
Always. Well, if Jill's game.
Thank you.
I am sure Either of these fine young minds would prove indispensable in my research. I leave the decision as to who will go with whom in your capable hands, Clive. So, Clive, have you made your decision? Who will accompany you on your little excursion?
Very well. So then, what do we need to find?
I have taken the liberty of preparing a list. Here.
White chocobo eggs. Pepio nuts. Are you sure this list is right? Everything on here seems very edible. I would have thought the ingredients would be a little more exotic.
Though these items may seem mundane, they have potent effects that are rarely exploited, effects for which they were once highly prized. So much so, in fact, that they were harvested almost to extinction, hence moon dews having fallen from favor. Now, of course, they can be obtained with ease. You should be able to find everything you need at the market in Northreach.
Is that so? I've been meaning to visit Northreach anyway. I'll set out now. Join me there when you're ready.
I will. Until then.
You two enjoy yourselves.
You too, Talia.